Redo of Healer disrupted the anime world in 2021. The community took to arms, calling it the most disturbing anime of all time. YouTubers jumped to cash in on easy views, and the internet created more memes than any other anime in the past. And nearly 4 years later, it's time to figure out how the most infamous anime of all time created a fanbase more devout than the My Hero Academia defenders, with many demanding a season 2. So let's see if it's really as bad or as great as they all say. So if you've never heard of Redo of Healer or haven't watched it in a while, yes, I said in a while because this has to be one of the most rewatched anime of all time. But here's the setup. We have Keyaru, a commoner from a fantasy village who gets gifted the abilities of healing magic, where then he is invited to join the Avengers in order to take down the Demon Lord, but he gets tortured and abused by his fellow Avengers. But once they complete their task of defeating the Demon Lord, he stole its power to restart his life with all of his memories to seek out revenge. And no, I know what you're thinking, but it's actually not an isekai. You can also easily tell it's not an isekai because they wouldn't spend that much time in the original world anyways. Now you may be thinking, how does he go back? Why does he keep his memories? Why do the Avengers hate him? All very fantastic questions with zero explanation at all. You ever write an argumentative essay in school on like fucking avocados? And you're like, avocados are bad. And your teacher's like, why? And you're like, avocados make people sad. She's like, why? Avocados make people cry. Why? Redo of Healer is exactly why your teacher has done that. Because whatever line you write or character you write in needs to be done with actual purpose. But what happens next? That wasn't too controversial. It may be written worse than My Hero Academia, but for it to be touted as the most infamous anime of all time, it's not that level bad yet. Because now we have reached the most infamous anime episode of all time. You edgelords know exactly what this is, and jokes aside, if you're someone who is sensitive to the word that starts with R, do not watch this anime. There's a lot of references to the word throughout the entire series, so for the time being, we're gonna have to swap it out for the word poke. But episode 2 starts with his new life, but this time around we get more time with Princess Flare, who's become one of the most popular characters in the edgy side of the anime world. Besides the fact that people on the internet fawn over Flare's character design, when she was introduced, she seemed to be a pretty nice, pretty kind lady. She pulled this dude up from the gutter, made him into something. Wait, what happened? Why is she torturing him all of a sudden? But in order to understand why she's torturing him, you need to understand Keyaru's ability. This nuanced power system Redo of Healer created rivals even Hunter x Hunter's Nen. Get this, right? Keyaru is a healer, hence the name Redo of Healer. Shut the fuck up. Okay, so Keyaru can heal anything. Broken arm? No problem. McDonald's ice cream machine? No problem. My Hero Academia ending? Well, he can't do everything, but he can pretty much heal anything. Except the catch is he feels the pain in return. Pretty fair trade-off, no? But there's a catch. Not only is he healing people, but he gets to learn all their memories and techniques and all that shit. Okay, that's kind of OP, but it's his power fantasy. If he's to become vengeance and take over all, he's gonna need to be strong. But that's still not all. The other thing is, he can make people strong based off his juice. Yes, his juice. Which is a whole plot point that's going to be referenced throughout the whole video, because his juice is way more important to the story than being an insufferable loser is to a League of Legends player. But his juice literally sends people crazy. Like, I don't know if he bought those pills from 7-Eleven or what, but he got people losing their minds over his shit. Dudes losing their minds, women losing their minds. It was more in demand than PS5s at the start of COVID, but when he refuses to give him his juice, they drug him and torture him for months on end. This was the first moment of Redo of Healer where you were like, hold up. What am I watching? Should I continue watching this? Where is this going? This is not the Game of Thrones of anime I was promised. And if this scene isn't pure evidence that they were going to try to appeal to the weird side of anime fans, they had so many other options on how they could have done that scene. Because as the great philosopher Scamboli Review said,
could he just do it in a jar? No, because this gives him an excuse to act out the intended viewer's fantasy on the totally super hot girl, and you could have just milked the guy and left him alone. That actually sounds kind of nice. Just milk me and leave me the fuck alone.
But not all can be that wise, but I hear you can reach another level of wisdom and enlightenment if you leave a like and subscribe. But if you thought that's bad, what makes it even worse is how Keyaru beats his drugs. So with the knowledge of his past life, he knew he was going to be impaired before arriving, so he took some shrooms beforehand to build his tolerance, and he took a lot. and grinded these drugs like he was going to the fucking Olympics for taking drugs every single day. Who's gonna carry the boats? I'm gonna carry the boats. And he became the junkie of all junkies, and his body became one with narcotics, and that paired with his healing ability allowed him to overcome the drugs he was given and eventually break free. And oh yeah, if you're wondering how he beats up everyone after getting free, he collected every ability like the fucking Infinity Gauntlet, because while they were taking his juice, he was copying everything, and he can do whatever he wants at this point. So he gets in a room with Flare, and this is where things cross the line. In this scene, he brutally tortures Flare, and it's really disturbing, and there's a lot of gruesome details like threatening to stick a flaming rod up her, to breaking her fingers, to paralyzing her legs to poke her. There's a lot of really gruesome details here, and I don't know if the anime wants you to feel super bad for Keyaru. This scene is super disturbing, of course, and caused more backlash than any other scene in anime history. And a common defense to the scene is it's just fantasy. And that's often used to defend H anime, and that whole side of Twitter will pop out of their caves to jump into those conversations, and sometimes they have a point, especially of H anime. Depending, of course, on what you're talking about them defending. But this was an anime that was accessible to basically anyone on most normal anime viewing sites, both legal and RIP to them, boys. Y'all were legends, you will not be forgotten, but I still never heard of those sites though. But point being, this could have easily been viewed by kids or even people who didn't know what it was going into it and didn't know it was going to be that messed up. And the other reason it being an anime matters so much is the fact that the level of voice acting is of a higher quality, and instead of the adult rated side of anime where it's made for someone to find pleasurable if they're into it, this was done to make the audience feel uncomfortable and genuinely feel scared for Flare, or self-insert into Keyaru if that's what you're into and you want self-insert into Keyaru of all people. Hey man, if that's your thing. If you're wondering what type of madman wrote this, the one and the only anime man interviewed the author, and he basically said the light novel is way worse, and that he wrote the whole story for shock value and to appeal to all the edgelords out there so he could make a bag of all bags. And yeah, he probably did. But with all that being said, the meme side of it has completely taken over. And I swear, I've seen this profile picture in CSGO multiple times, and I'm not trying to make light of the episode because it's terrible, but since years have passed, everyone feels much more comfortable talking about it. But with that being said, some of these comments are insane. Okay, this anime is actually fucking amazing. I love this episode, and that revenge, he took all her memories and made her his slave and lover. LOL, I love it. What? Dog, this is public, on the internet, for all to see. You have to find a job one day. You might have a family one day. Why would you post this? Or this one. I am not a sadist, but watching him get revenge like he did made me smile unhealthily wide. Bittersweet revenge, you reap what you sow. And that filthy owl Flare sowed her own downfall. Almost poetic, don't you think? For one, that sounds a lot like a sadist, brother. And two, like, how do you even come up with this? Like what? Why would you comment this? And I can't believe this next one is real. Just fucking look at how the poke makes those cow tits swing. Thank Jesus. Best poked have ever seen. That is not real. The grammar there didn't even make sense, even when you remove the censorship. But there's an endless supply of these, and a lot of them are really lighthearted jokes that are fully memeing it, unlike the ones I just read aloud. It makes sense the internet would come up with some ways to make it funny. Like, think, if 9/11 gets memed, no one is really safe. But let's jump on over now to the next section of this epic odyssey and tale, because this is where things get really weird. Definitely still messed up, but also just like really, really stupid and weird, and probably some of the most insane methods of torture you will see in any piece of media. So after Keyaru did what he did, he essentially wiped her memories, changed her face, and made her his slave to make love to whenever he wants and to fight for him. And he also changed his own face as he was fleeing, and wow, dude, he really picked a unique face. Definitely do not know who that is. Where's Waldo rolling in his grave right now? From there, he goes on wandering the world, seeking his revenge, and the anime tries to do this BS where they try and convince you he's a good guy. They do this whole thing of having him clear up a poison river, something like that, and during that journey, he frees a slave, and he chooses to help her village, but it's redo of healer. Of course, there's a catch. You see this wolf girl? She's a fighter, but she's power capped like in an RPG game. But the only way for her to exceed her power cap and to be able to get stronger and level up is not by training, but by taking his juice. Like, bro, this guy is straight up just the ultimate meme lord, edgelord. He's just trying to appeal to the fantasy of every pre-death isekai protagonist. Like, I know this isn't a super original concept, but he definitely called all his friends and was like, you know what? I added this wolf girl to my story. And guess how she gets stronger?
By taking in the main character's juice.
I wish I had the balls to not say juice. Like, I feel like such a clown.
Please leave a like.
But as the series continued, Keyaru's harem kept on growing, and his next victim was the Sword Saint. And they have an epic duel. Nah, this duel is literally one of the worst animated fights of all time. Like, bro, what is this? It's like when a kid asks his mom, can I have Naruto versus Sasuke? No, son, we have Naruto versus Sasuke at home. Like, bro, what is this? But she's probably the only character who didn't wrong him, so you'd think he would treat her well. And once he settles her down and convinces her that he's actually a good guy by lying, he proceeds to drug her. Any thought that Keyaru was meant to be this deep and tragic character just goes right out the window, because she didn't do anything super bad to him, and he's just completely taking advantage of her. And the only reason they do this is so he can have a harem. Like, there's absolutely no reason for him and her to like have any form of relationship like that in any capacity. But the anime dips right back in to try and convince you he's a good guy, because this is anime. We need depth, we need story. He's trying to save his townspeople from back in the day, and one of them is his mom. And oh my goodness, is there actually something we're gonna have here? Is there actually gonna be a moment that is deep and not goofy? So when his mom got captured, she got poked by this general. Okay, this would be how you use dark concepts and make it Games of Thronesy. There should be something that is punished here. There's a bit of setup to see what happens. This gotta be an epic showdown, right? Something cool like that Shikamaru get back level revenge. So Keyaru changes his own face. Okay. He traps the general in a room. Okay. And he transformed this guy into a woman and proceeds to make him get poked by some ogres. Why? I feel like at this point, people just fully stopped taking the show seriously, and maybe you never should have from the beginning, because it was just like, oh, we're just gonna make this as crazy as possible. Like, I get that it's supposed to be this crazy revenge, and the scene isn't as gruesome as episode 2, but there's just ways they could have executed this to make you actually feel good about what Keyaru did, because he was actually wronged. But like I said, it's just full shock value now. But after that, he goes on to the Coliseum and saves the town people. Let's go. That's our boy. Give him the Nobel Prize. What a good guy. He saved the day. This must be the end of the anime. No, this is a redo of Healer. We got another twist coming in. Norn, the sister of Flare, and a character who's supposed to be more devious and more cruel than Keyaru himself. The lowest of the low, but actually smart as well. But if you're looking for a reason why she's bad and why she opposes Keyaru, we do not know. But it's all good because we have shock value. Right? And you don't even want to know what went down here. Trust me, it was strange. Honestly, not even dark, just really strange. Well, it was a little dark, like dim. I would say it was dim, but it was just super weird scene. So while they foreshadow the greatest duel in anime, super evil villain versus edgelord protagonist, we get to see this little side quest of him running into the demon lord. Now class, if you were paying attention, this is the same demon lord that him and the Avengers were fighting, but she's not strong enough yet. So on this run, he's gonna try and manipulate her for her power so he can abuse it. What about that, Sangate? Or ReZero? Could Subaru-sama think of that? Jesus Christ, man. Like, do they think this is like some high-level writing? Oh yeah, she's also the only character that he doesn't do the deed with. So what resilience the author showed there. I'm sure some manga readers are gonna be like, does he know? The next section of this video is probably the most ridiculous thing I have ever had to script in my entire life. So essentially, Norn's party and Keyaru's party are in the same vicinity, and one of Norn's commanders is named Blade. And Blade is evil and sinister. She's kind of like the meme of when you ask a girl out at the bar and she says yes but her friend says no. That's basically what Blade is to Flare and Norn. And she was poking a lot of the women in this village, because that's what commanders do, I guess. After a long plot, Keyaru gets himself cornered with her and he transforms himself into the woman Kiara. And you know, this shit is actually just getting ridiculous. Like, his name is Keyaru, yet when he transformed his face after what he did to Flare, he changed his name to Kiarga, and now he's fucking Kiara. Like, Jesus Christ. It makes the Superman Clark Kent shit look like child's play. Anyways, after he transformed himself, he allowed himself to be captured by Blade. She tries to force herself onto him, who she thinks is a woman. And when she gets down there, she meets a little friend in the lower region of Kiara, and Jesus Christ, you cannot tell me they weren't going for humor with this. But basically, he knocks her out and paralyzes her, and forces 3 men to, like Jesus Christ, man. Like, some of these punishments are just so clearly to make those Discord mods out there laugh. Like, I get it's ridiculous, but when you think about what goes into how this came to be, like, how the hell did anyone come up with this and go, we cooking right now? Like, I get some of the scenes in this show can be comical, but I fully see how you can keep the dick slap in there. Like, I fully get it. They definitely were clip farming in 2021, but this was just like, why? Well, moving forward, Norn's only remaining warrior is named Hawkeye. I know, y'all thought I was saying Avenger to be funny, eh? But he's here. and his name is actually Hawkeye, and apparently he's actually too strong for Keyaru. And like, I call cap on that bullshit right now. How bad are you at fighting that you can't win with everything Keyaru has? Keyaru literally has every ability known to abilities. How could he actually manage to lose a fight? But it doesn't even make sense, but whatever. Hawkeye and Norn use their army to kill a bunch of normal people in the city, and one of them is Keyaru's friend, so he becomes super bad mad. Oh, he's angry, he got eye water, feel bad for him. And then Keyaru goes and kills Hawkeye, because I guess that was his Ninetales moment. He let the rage take over and it powered him up to defeat him. So now it's time for the Norn torture scene, and this time he brings back Freia to taunt Norn by turning Freia into a dog to lick Norn's, and if Norn can last till morning, she can go free. But she doesn't, because apparently she loves her sister more than anything in the world. And holy Jesus, man, is this their attempt of adding depth to their characters? Like, what, are we supposed to all of a sudden be like, oh, Norn, what a deep character? Or Keyaru, what a manipulative mastermind if you're one of those people that supports Keyaru. But all that came from it was Keyaru poking her, erasing her memory, and turns her into a girl named Ellen. And he tells his party when he presents her to them that it's his sister, and they all just like go with it. Like, nah, man, like some of them are just stupid as hell. Like, I get they're all obsessed with his pee-pee, but like, come on, man. And what's even worse is after they meet her, they all do the deed together, knowing that that's his sister. Like, what? How? No one thought this was like, oh, maybe we should ask him about this? I don't know, man. I think the most annoying part of watching Redo of Healer is all the attempts to redeem Keyaru. It's just like, bro, let it go, man. He's a bad guy, and his revenge is clearly just to fucking shock you with some scenes. This guy who was barely developed poked his mom, so Keyaru turned him into a woman to get poked by dudes. Like, bro, what are we doing? This woman was mean to him, and she's a lesbian, so let's force her to get poked by male ogres. And what he does to Norn leads to every Discord mod getting their profile picture. Trying to look at Redo of Healer as a serious anime is going to lead to so many angry comments. I already hear, Flair deserved it, 123 typing, Redo of Healer is an absolute masterclass in character development, and its revenge is so different. Or Edgelord123 saying, it's meant to be mean, just shut up and laugh. And to be honest, I don't really think anything besides episode 2 is massively problematic. Don't get me wrong, none of this stuff belongs in an anime, and I think one of the most common takes in the comments of the Redo of Healer episodes is that they might as well have just made it an H anime because that's what most people were watching it for. And a lot of H anime have way more fucked up plots, with this being an in-between of trying to be the Game of Thrones of anime with these super dark scenes, and they ended up pissing off people that enjoy this kind of thing as well as the people that somehow some way thought they were getting a super serious anime that was actually going to be good. Now, I don't think you're all of a sudden a shitty person or you need to find help or anything if you like this, because content like this is viewed by millions of people and it is animated at the end of the day. But I do think it's pretty safe to say if you're gonna try and make something super dark like this for an anime, you should have way more depth to it and tone down some of the scenes a little bit, and obviously tone episode 2 way the fuck down. But Redo of Healer was way worse than I remember. Not the scenes being worse, because how could you forget how crazy some of them are, but the actual anime plot was just so non-existent. It was actually hilarious. So if you want to watch a wholesome video, check out this one on why anime doesn't hit the same anymore, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and we're just getting started. We're gonna stay consistent, and I'll see you in the next video.